On August 3rd, the Chinese State Council released a critical document aimed at boosting consumer spending and strengthening various service industries. This document, referred to as the State Council's 20 Measures, unexpectedly includes industries that have faced severe suppression in recent years, such as educational training, which was nearly wiped out, online live streaming, and video games. These sectors are now being highlighted for support and development, signaling a significant change in policy. Meanwhile, the situation in Beijing continues to be perplexing. The spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs announced a 2-week hiatus, and many military generals are still missing. The newly promoted Minister of Defense, Dong Jun, did not follow the customary procedure to join the military commission. Notably, as we have previously reported, official media's coverage of Xi Jinping has decreased significantly, and the tone of the propaganda has softened. This begs the question, what exactly is happening in Beijing? It's all covered in today's China Truths. State Council issues 20 measures to correct Xi's policies. On NTD TV's Elite Forum, independent TV producer Li Jun expressed surprise at the 20 measures issued by the State Council. He found it puzzling that these measures support industries like educational training, gaming, and live streaming sales, sectors previously suppressed by Xi Jinping. Li Jun sees this as a significant policy reversal, questioning why Premier Li Qiang, who has consistently followed Xi's directives, is now shifting course. He suggests that this may indicate changes within the CCP's top leadership. Li also pointed out that the focus on the catering industry in the measures hints at a return to street stall economy policies, but noted the overall vagueness in the plan's approach to service-based consumption. Guo Jun, editor-in-chief of the Epoch Times, also talked about the critical role of service-based consumption in economic growth. She noted that as economies develop, the service sector becomes increasingly dominant. In the United States, service consumption accounts for about 60% of domestic consumption, which makes up 80% of the GDP. In China, service consumption is also a growing part of the economy, currently accounting for around 23% of GDP. While official figures show rapid growth in service consumption, Guo warned that a significant portion of this sector is part of the gray economy, untaxed and often cash-based transactions. She pointed out that service consumption reflects a society's specialization in labor, which increases with wealth disparity. Guo further noted that service consumption in China faces unique challenges due to heavy regulation by the CCP, especially in ideologically sensitive areas like video games, film, television, culture, and entertainment. She argued that for the CCP to genuinely develop the service sector, it would need to relax these regulations, a move that contradicts the current emphasis on strengthening party control. Guo and Li Jun suggested that the 20 measures could be seen as a tacit acknowledgement of flaws in Xi Jinping's economic policies, earning them the nickname Anti-Xi 20 Measures online, though not openly discussed. The CCP's inconsistent policies create significant risks for the service consumption industry, causing uncertainty among investors. Despite rapid growth in service consumption, private investment has been sluggish due to widespread caution. This uncertainty is evident not only in sectors like tutoring, video games, and e-commerce but also within the CCP bureaucracy, where inconsistent orders and low tolerance for mistakes have led to officials lying flat. Guo Jun pointed out that the government is not openly admitting or correcting its mistakes, but everyone understands the situation. Li Qiang's adjustments to Xi Jinping's policies are undoubtedly damaging Xi Jinping's personal authority. Producer Li Jun also noted changes in state media propaganda, with a noticeable decrease in the number of reports on Xi Jinping since the third plenary session. Xi Jinping's public appearances have also become less frequent, and previously standard phrases praising him have nearly disappeared from official reports. Additionally, a special feature on reformer Xi Jinping by Xinhua News Agency was removed after the third plenary session, with no explanation provided. Beijing's unrest, Xi Jinping struggles with major policy implementation. Dr. Wang Huntao, chairman of the China Democratic Party, discussed the increasingly unusual situation in Beijing. He noted that while Xi Jinping is not an immediate danger, significant Communist Party issues often arise outside of formal meetings, which are later convened to ratify decisions made behind closed doors. The current lack of such meetings indicates that the leadership's directives are still being followed. However, Dr. Wang suggests that Xi Jinping's major challenge is the implementation of the policies established during the third plenary session, a task complicated by China's declining economic conditions. Xi had postponed this session by a year, likely due to uncertainty about unveiling these policies. Now, with the policies public, the economy continues to worsen, leaving Xi puzzled over the failure of his plans. Historically, no matter how powerful a communist leader, whether Stalin, Mao Zedong, or the three generations of the Kim family in North Korea, severe economic crises have forced them to reconsider their positions. Xi Jinping now finds himself at a similar crossroads, hesitant to reverse course. The fading use of the two upholds, two establishes rhetoric is telling, as it indicates the dire state of the economy. Local governments are unlikely to follow the third plenary session's directives, knowing that doing so could lead to economic disaster, even starvation. Everyone is now waiting for Xi to make a decision. However, with Xi remaining silent, no one else dares to take action, leading to what Dr. Wang describes as a political shock. For the audiences who may not know, the two upholds, two establishes is a political slogan used in China under the leadership of Xi Jinping. It encompasses two key principles meant to reinforce Xi Jinping's authority within the Chinese Communist Party and the broader state governance framework. Dr. Wang further explained that due to widespread economic failures, the Chinese Communist Party is now in a severe political crisis, with Xi Jinping indecisive and unsure of his next steps. The core issue is the failure of his major policies. Premier Li Chang's introduction of the 20 measures reflects a more cautious approach, with the State Council promoting these initiatives. But Dr. Wang wonders what Xi is thinking, whether he is reluctant to retreat and is instead focused on investigating individuals. This scenario is reminiscent of Deng Xiaoping's response to resistance against his reform policies after the 1979 third plenary session, which led to a major political purge in 1984 to replace those who did not align with his vision. Will Xi Jinping launch a large-scale political campaign to replace officials, stick to his current policies, or adjust them? According to Dr. Wang, Xi will likely need to adjust his approach because China's economy is indeed in trouble. On this issue, Wang said that he doesn't believe Xi will be as stubborn as Mao Zedong, Stalin, or the Kim family in North Korea. We should watch to see if Li Chang steps in to manage the situation. Ultimately, when the economy starts to recover, Xi will probably push forward with his plan for enduring capital and the creation of new productive forces, essentially building a national mobilization system under the guise of market reforms. These ideas, central to the third plenary session, aim to achieve Chinese-style modernization and surpass Western developed countries. When Li Chang took office, he quietly revived some of Li Keqiang's street stall economy policies, though they're now referred to as the platform economy. Wang thinks that Li Chang is focused on addressing the economic crisis, but once the economy stabilizes, Xi is likely to carry out a large-scale purge, similar to the Cultural Revolution, removing those who helped Li Chang save the economy to reassert himself as the great leader and prove that his approach was correct all along. Wang pointed out that with the economy in such a dire state, local leaders know that Xi's proposed policies are unworkable. If they were to implement them and people starved in any province, those leaders would be held responsible. So, they've reported the situation to the central government, leaving the decision to Xi, who himself seems unsure of what to do. As a result, it seems like the top levels of the Chinese Communist Party are in collective shock, with everyone just waiting. Xi uses force to suppress the military, a critical moment is approaching. Dr. Wang Huntao further remarked that the recent developments surrounding Dong Jun, the current Minister of Defense, signify an impending crisis within the military. Despite holding the position of defense minister, Dong Jun was not promoted to the Central Military Commission during the third plenary session, which Wang sees as a troubling sign. Before the vacancy in the Ministry of Defense, there was a similar situation in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs when Qin Gang was abruptly removed from his position. The public speculated on who would replace him, and eventually, Wang Yi, after appearing twice in the role, was appointed as the new foreign minister. Following this pattern, the Central Military Commission still has 2 vice chairmen and 3 members who could potentially step in to fill any gaps, except for Xi Jinping himself. However, the key issue is that she does not trust any of these individuals, including Dong Jun. This extreme distrust on Xi's part is mirrored by growing dissatisfaction within the military towards Xi. If the situation deteriorates to the point where Xi cannot trust any of the 5 Central Military Commission members, the military could face a significant disaster in the future. This situation suggests that the current leadership could be purged entirely, signaling a major cleansing within the ranks. Ms. Guo Jun also said that loyalty within the military has always been a significant problem within the Chinese Communist Party. The CCP constantly emphasizes the principle that the party commands the gun, but the real question is, who exactly represents the party? Historical precedents illustrate this dilemma. Hua Guofeng, who was both the chairman of the military commission and the party chairman, was not respected by the military. Similarly, Zhao Ziyang, the general secretary of the party, was also disregarded by the military. This demonstrates that the question of whom the CCP's military ultimately obeys is far from straightforward. Within the CCP, there has been extensive research on the role of the military in the collapse of the Soviet Union. Many attribute the Soviet Union's fall to the military's disobedience to the party. For example, during the attempted coup against Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, the Air Force commander and KGB special forces refused to follow orders from the coup leaders, declining to arrest Boris Yeltsin. This situation is paradoxical because the General Secretary of the Soviet Communist Party at the time was Gorbachev, not the coup plotters. The general's refusal to obey the orders of the coup group actually demonstrated their adherence to the legitimate party leadership. This example highlights the complexity of military loyalty within a one-party system, where the military is expected to follow the party, but it isn't always clear who truly represents the party at a given moment. Thus, Guo Jun concluded that the principle of the party commanding the gun does not resolve the underlying problems within the CCP's authoritarian system. The military's obedience is to absolute authority, and this is particularly true for the CCP's military. The current situation is dangerous for the CCP because Xi Jinping lacks absolute personal authority within the military. Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping held such authority, but Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao did not, which is why they relied on a strategy of buyouts. Xi Jinping also lacks this authority, yet he attempts to use force and coercive power to suppress and control the military, which is a highly dangerous approach. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.